Hello and welcome to the St Kilda and Bayside Report. It is August 2022. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Jeremy Rosens. I can't believe it's August, Gary.
It happened quickly. We're in spring.
It didn't happen any quicker than any other year, Gary.
Well, I don't know. They say when you get older, the months go past quicker. I think that's right. I think we're younger, you know.
The last time I checked, there's still 24 hours in a day.
It is.
There's still roughly 28 to 31 days in a month.
But it feels like things are going fast. It feels like, don't you think every year feels like it's going fast? It's like, I want to slow down. When you're younger, you just want things to speed up because you want to get older. Then when you're older, you go, hey, maybe that was such a good idea.
I read a very interesting article about that, Gary, about the seasons that we live.
Yep.
And this article was a bit sort of, holistic thinking, that everybody wants to be something that they're not. When you are young and, you go to school, you want to have a job. When you're in a job, you want to have kids. When you have kids, you want to have no kids. Yeah. And this article was based around just enjoy the season that you're in, whatever it is.
Enjoy the moment.
So love the ones. The senior season, Gary.
Love the ones you're with, as they say, Jeremy Rosens. You're sounding a bit croaky there. Is that?
I don't know why that is, Gary.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, in fairness,
is that your auctioneer voice starting to get a little bit soft?
No, it's not my auctioneer voice. It's probably my stupid football team losing with 11 seconds to go, screaming like a banshee.
That was the saddest thing. Were you at the game?
I wasn't at the game. I was at a party, and I refused to watch it. So I watched the phone, and I was watching the scores.
It was just horrible. It was horrible.
45 years, Gary, I've supported this club, and this is probably as shattered as I've ever been.
Yes, that was the Carlton Football Club, for those that may not. Two suffering Carltons. But although being a bit older, I'd had a lot of joy in the 70s and 80s.
I've had some joy, Gary. I've had some joy.
Well, you're a lot younger. You're too young.
I was on the ground for the 1995 grand final.
Okay,
I was in the rooms.
Fair enough.
In fact, we could probably show some footage of
is that right?
Greg Williams being interviewed with his Norman Smith medal, and there I was in the background.
Really?
Pulling faces.
Is that right? You're one of those painful little kids, annoying kids.
If I can find that vision, we'll put it on, because I had a big head of hair, Gary.
That's very funny. Well, you still got plenty of hair. You've gone back to being a bit more hairy than you were.
I've had a haircut, Gary.
This is a real estate show, just in case you're wondering. If you've never watched it before, we should get into it, shouldn't we? Well, welcome viewers, and welcome to what's going on in the world of real estate. Has been a bit quiet. Things have come off a little, but now it's like you can hear that chugging of a locomotive, leaving the station. The spring locomotive real estate train is starting to chug away.
I'm going to say something that may be controversial, Gary. We haven't spoken about this, but
This is unprepared.
This is
not even,
as you could probably tell.
Not even thought about,
no
really.
Scripts, very unprepared.
No.
Everyone talks about the bell curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if we looked at a negative bell curve for this market, I actually think, as much as we say no one rings a bell at the top, no one rings a bell at the bottom, I think the correction that we've had, we've had it.
I agree with you.
And I reckon buyers are now starting to come back to the market because the barometers are bidders at auction.
Yep.
Big numbers of bidders at auctions this week.
There were.
The biggest we've had in months.
It was, you're right.
An uplift in the amount of people coming to our open for inspections by, I'd say, 15 to 20%.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So I'm not suggesting that we're in a boom time now.
No.
But I think that whatever's happened over the last month is now done, and buyers are now coming in and going, right, I'm now going to buy with confidence because I think that it's right.
Yeah, you've said something controversial. I'm going to say something even more controversial. I agree with you. You know, I don't like doing that.
You know what? I want to change my opinion now.
Exactly right. Before it's too late. No, I do. I agree with you. I think the bottom has happened, and it feels like things came off. And I was saying this at one of my auctions on the weekend. It's got a very strong feel of 2019 now. If you remember 2019 well, for some of you it was a long time ago. For us, it was just like yesterday. But 2017 was the height of the market. August 2017 this time, and then 2018 kind of things came off, and then 2019 they really came right down, and then they started.
Well, they plateaued.
They plateaued. Well, they dropped really, and then they plateaued, and then they started moving up again. It feels like we're at that point now. I don't know about you, but the fundamentals.
The cycles are gone. This 5 to 7 year real estate cycle.
That's right. It's
is
not the same
dead.
anymore. Yeah, it's everything's changed. And Melbourne, that was a very slow to move market, is now experiencing
pace.
a lot more erratic cycles in terms of how things move.
Let's talk about some of these properties, Gary, because
we've sold some good stuff. We've had some beautiful homes.
Yeah, we have.
And we've been very blessed to do so. There's one of the ones that's, it is here. I want to talk about because I thought this was such a good looking home, and I know it was a great result. 41 Octavia Street.
Gorgeous
Tell us a bit about that, because I didn't get to see it, but it was a great looking property.
It's a beautiful double fronted Edwardian, Gary, solid brick. It had that very, just a beautiful period charm.
Yep.
And the vendors had done a reno in the bathroom. They've updated the back area. It wasn't the biggest house in St Kilda.
That's okay.
But it was beautifully prepared, beautifully positioned. We marketed it really well. The vendors whom I've sold for before, lovely people. We ended up having a competitive auction, Gary. We had 2 or 3 bidders. Eventual selling price, if I'm not mistaken,
You don't need to look because I've done it for you.
was $1,705,000.
And now that was one that went way beyond our range. Not
Yes.
everything is doing that. Some things are selling even at the bottom of the range at the moment,
Well,
across
beyond
the board.
reserve too, Gary.
But that was well above. That was certainly one of the more competitive properties.
Lamora and Nikki sold that and did an excellent job because not only were they fantastic in all their communication, but they produced heaps of activity on the day of the auction, which makes my job easier.
They did, and they are true professionals in every sense of the word. Hotham Street, we had the pleasure of selling that wonderful block together with you and Daniel Mickmaker and the team, and Jacob and the team. And that was a historic property sold at auction. So congratulations and thanks again to the vendors for the gig of that fantastic home.
An amazing block
Incredible
of apartments,
property, yeah.
Gary.
And watch that space because it's going to be coming back as something even better by the sound of things.
Yes.
One at 31 Holroyd, you've got notified here as something worthy of discussion.
Yes, well, we auctioned that. We ended up having a couple of bidders. This was a large, oversized apartment, Gary, in a great location, Holroyd Street.
Price guide 7 to 750,
No, I
sold
think
for
we
more
can.
than that.
I think we're okay to disclose the price,
Okay,
Gary.
great.
I've done some research there at $785,000. Good result. And you know, when there's a competitive auction, Gary, with multiple bidders on the market and selling, I don't know why it's undisclosed.
I don't know either, but that's what the vendors want sometimes. So do the buyers. It becomes public anyway once it settles.
In the very short distance too, Gary, from the auction date, that is.
Yep. One of the hotter auctions out there that we've had recently is in Robertson Avenue, a little known street in St Kilda, Robertson.
Well, funny that this should be a perfect segue from Octavia, because if you were to leave the house in Octavia, turn left, take, don't quote me here, 10 steps to the left.
Yep.
Do you want to sing after
Just
that?
to jump to the left.
And then if you had
and then
a
a step to the
right,
right.
that's Robertson Street.
Put your hands on your hips and put your hand up and bid. Yep. And a lot of people did, Mr.
Would it be rude if I just walked out now, Gary?
No, I
Because
think
if this
so,
is the kind of, is this what's happening to
You
the
know
show?
what? The four people that are watching would not like that.
They'll probably be okay about
2
it.
at 3 Robertson Avenue.
Competitive auction, Gary, 4 people bid. Interesting that the eventual buyer, I had done 4 or 5 auctions over a couple of months and seen her bidding. And we have moved her from
home to home to home to home.
Caulfield East.
Yep.
Caulfield South, Caulfield North, Elstonwick, and then St Kilda was the eventual
She was
purchase.
almost going to be in the bay if you would have moved her any further west.
Wasn't far to
Or
go.
go to Williamstown. Well done to the buyer and congratulations to those involved in the sale of that property.
Yes.
Great result and fantastic address. And then, of course, Chapel Street was another one that we sold.
Chapel Street, we auctioned that beautiful renovated apartment
Did
on
we
the ground
say
floor with
what
a
Robertson
courtyard
sold
garden.
for? Sold for
We didn't.
608. It's
On the market at, I think even in the mid-fives, Gary.
Yeah, sold for 608. Chapel Street's undisclosed, but
Well,
sold
it's not.
for, okay, good.
We can say that too, Gary.
Sold for 590. Images on the screen right now.
great
And of
apartment.
course, the other great sale was that beautiful home in Odessa Street. Another
Beautiful
great
Victorian,
property.
Gary. It's just lovely to be involved with beautiful sales of magnificent period homes. Octavia, I should say. Odessa was a sale that was post-auction, cleaned up very shortly after auction, and a great price, I think, Gary. I don't know whether we can disclose it.
It's undisclosed.
Well, why don't we just
Mr.
say
Rosens,
it had something, can
well,
we say
it
what
was
it
being
started
it was
with?
being asked, the asking price was 2.2, so it sold pretty close to that. I think that's
Pretty,
okay.
I'd say. Very close.
Very close to that. Shall we talk a little bit about some of our offerings coming up?
I think we should, Gary.
Talking about Chapel Street, we've got some new listings, Jeremy, to talk about, and one of those is in Chapel Street.
It is, Gary.
I like the look of this one. Tell us about it.
38A Chapel Street, Gary, a fabulous one of a pair. Art Deco in its style, Gary. In fact, we've called it an urban oasis, and that's a fairly good description. 2 bedrooms, 1 central and updated bathroom, updated kitchen. Done a bit of work internally here, the vendors here. New polished timber floors, beautiful paint, fantastically furnished, and I think, Gary, in an ultra competitive price range of $960,000 to $1,020,000.
I don't think anybody sells more in East St Kilda than we do. I look at the records.
Well, when
it
you say
always
you don't
seems
think,
that
let
we
me
sell
tell you,
most,
it is a fact that nobody sells more than us in East
And
St Kilda.
I don't think anyone sells better houses, and in those better houses would come this one in Carrington Grove, which is the home of Ripponlea State School, where you can hear lovely children in the morning laughing, and it's my old school.
They're not necessarily all lovely children.
No,
Gary,
they
but
are.
Let's assume
No,
that
I
they
was
are.
right. That was my school, and let's go on.
Obviously, it's recovered since
Yes,
then.
they don't like to admit that.
No, there's no plaque of you. There's no.
In fact, to the opposite, there's a denial. They say there's no records back that far that ever said you came here. So, go on. 30 Carrington Grove, great house.
Gary,
Let's go.
Imagine how many schools have blacklisted your name.
Well, you know what? The principal at my high school said to my mother, "We've had your daughter, we've had your son. please promise me, Mrs. Peer, that there's no more Peer children coming through. Actually said that.
Having had both of you, she
Yeah.
probably put the queue in the rack and said that's it
Yeah,
also. 'Cause
exactly
she
right.
wouldn't have had an easy job
No,
with
she
the
didn't.
two of you.
No, she didn't.
Shout out to your sister. She's
Yeah.
nicer than you. But anyway.
She is indeed. It wasn't not a hard benchmark to climb
No,
over.
nothing that she's crying
Carrington
about.
Grove,
Carrington
great home.
Grove, a stunning family entertainer, Gary. This is
Yep.
classic. This is a classic
It is.
period home.
Oh, yeah.
Beautifully styled.
Picture postcard perfect, could you say?
That's exactly what you would
Good.
say. If you were
Okay.
the
I
auctioneer,
did say
Gary,
it.
you would exactly say that.
I'd like to be the
and a
auctioneer.
magnificent floor plan.
Yeah.
Beautifully landscaped gardens. This one's got 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, off-street parking for more than one car, which is generally 2. This one is going to be priced, Gary, at what price? Because you have it in front
2.7
of
to
you.
2.97 up there on the high 2 somewhere. You never know. Under competition, might hit 3 or more.
21st of August auction there,
Our
Gary.
last auction in Carrington went through the roof. It was very popular. And I'm not
It's
surprised.
a bit of a real estate cliche.
It is. Well, that's what happened. 2 at 5. The Avenue is a beautiful looking property.
Art Deco delight, Gary. Shame that lady who bought Robertson couldn't be there because she may well have bought this because it's in a
could
prime
buy another.
location. Balaclava, Gary. We're just a stone's throw from
Yep.
Carlisle Street. 2 bed, 1 bath, 1 car, and as we say, beautiful older style elegance at its finest with a great floor plan.
34 Hotham Street is a great looking period home. I've been through this home.
have,
I've
Gary.
seen the swimming pool in the back garden. I've seen all
Have
the
you
beautiful
swam
period
in that
features.
pool, Gary?
I didn't get to swim in it. The Vendels were home, so I took my trunks and I put them back in the car. But I got to say that is a great looking property on a beautiful parcel of land on a corner, of course, of a very prestigious street. So we're looking forward to that one.
It is
coming
on the corner of a great
Yep,
street,
yep.
Wavenhoe, Gary.
Wavenhoe. Let's move on to Wendon Grove, another great address.
Great location, Gary, just off Orrong Road near the corner of Inkerman.
Yep.
Best orientation home that you'll find, Gary.
Yep.
North facing, really lovely period home. So much scope for enhancement, whether you keep the house as is, extend, go up.
Let's move to Westbrook Street, a hot address. Daniel Mickmaker handling this terrific looking property. What a beautiful
Gary.
home.
We sold these off the plan, and to say they sold like hotcakes
Yeah,
is
it's
an
an understatement,
understatement,
it is,
Gary,
yeah.
because off the plan can take some time in any market. But these were sold very quickly,
Yep.
which is very much a bow in the cap.
Yep.
Is that what
Feather
they
in the
say?
cap.
Feather in the cap.
Yep. Bow in the air, feather in the cap.
Bow in the air. We'll just move on.
Yep.
Contemporary style, Gary. Courtyard garden. 2 beds, 2 bath, 1 car. Ready to move in and live straight away. It's superb. $660,000 to $720,000. I've got auction honours there, Gary, on the 3rd of September.
And you have auction honours also in Alma Road at 7 at 146. A little bit of a snap purchase, this one. Priced in the 4s. Hard to get an apartment in the 4s of that size.
Well, it's priced in the 4s at the moment, Gary. With our comment earlier today, we might find that we've got investors, we've got owner-occupiers, first home buyers, and this may lift the price up a little bit.
it may
Because
well do
this
so.
is investment-grade buying. You buy this, you put it in your portfolio, and you watch the value of this home increase, or you just move in and enjoy everything that Elmer Road has to offer.
Indeed, you do that. And that's a big wrap on this St Kilda Bayside report for August. If you wanted to sell this year, you need to get your roller skates
You
on
do,
and get into
Gary.
our office or call us quickly so we can help you maximise the sale of your home, because we're now scheduling October auctions.
October and beyond.
Already, yeah.
And beyond. We've
and
got a
of
grand
course,
final in the middle, which we have to hurdle over.
and then you've got the cup. So if you've got to plan it with us now. So have a chat to us. Give Jeremy and the team at Kilda a call. No matter where your property is, they can help and service you. It would be our pleasure to do so. In the meantime, we're going to keep you up to date with what's going on in the wonderful world of real estate when we come back in September to update you further on the St Kilda and Bayside report. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Jeremy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.